Welcome back to my channel, Official History of Coins episode of the Numismatic Vault, where we unlock the secrets of the world's most fascinating coins and bring you closer to the treasures that make coin collecting such an endlessly rewarding pursuit. Let's get started in the vast panorama of American numismatics. Few coins present a more compelling paradox than the 1977 Washington Quarter. To the uninitiated, it is merely pocket change, a common-clad piece from an era of economic uncertainty and transition. Yet, for the discerning collector, this issue holds the potential for extraordinary discovery, where coins struck by the hundreds of millions can, through a twist of minting fate, transform into a six-figure rarity. Its allure lies not in its standard issue, but in the thrilling possibility that a seemingly ordinary quarter might be a clandestine masterpiece of error and survival. A piece that commands attention in the upper echelons of the collecting world and justifies its status as a modern treasure. The year 1977 was a pivotal moment for the Washington Quarter series, marking its return to normalcy after the patriotic fervor of the nation's bicentennial. In 1975 and 1976, all quarters bore the dual date 1776 to 1976 and a special reverse depicting a colonial drummer boy. The 1977 issue, therefore, signaled a resumption of the traditional design, with the familiar profile of George Washington by John Flanagan on the obverse and the heraldic bald eagle on the reverse. Struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, the 1977 quarter was produced in massive numbers to meet the needs of commerce. However, this return to the classic design unwittingly set the stage for one of the most significant mint errors of the decade, as leftover planchets from the bicentennial production somehow found their way into the striking chambers of the Denver Mint. The unique features that catapult a 1977 quarter into the five-figure value range are almost never the result of intentional design, but rather of catastrophic minting anomalies. While standard coins from Philadelphia, no MintMark, and Denver, a DMintMark, are common, the true prizes are the transitional error coins. These are quarters struck on the wrong planchet material. The most famous and valuable of these is the 1977 Washington Quarter mistakenly struck on a 40% silver bicentennial planchet. Unlike the standard copper-nickel-clad quarter, which has a reeded edge that shows a brown stripe of copper, this error coin exhibits a solid silver-colored edge. Its weight is subtly different, and its appearance possesses a distinct, satiny luster that sets it apart from its clad counterparts. The rarity of such a coin cannot be overstated. It is a true numismatic ghost. It is believed that only 3 examples of the 1977 quarter struck on a 40% silver planchet exist. This astronomical rarity stems from the fact that the 40% silver planchets were only produced for San Francisco proof sets and were never intended for circulation strikes at Denver. The survival of even one example is a miracle of minting logistics, and the fact that 3 are known to collectors is a testament to the sharp eyes of those who recognized something extraordinary in a sea of ordinary coinage. In this context, the condition of such a coin, even if it has seen light circulation, is secondary to its monumental rarity. An example graded extremely fine by NGC sold for a remarkable $4,935, a price that reflects its status as a once-in-a-lifetime find. The market value for the zenith of 1977 quarter rarities comfortably eclipses the five-figure mark, with the potential to climb even higher as these pieces become further entrenched in numismatic lore. The aforementioned 40% silver transitional error is the headliner, but other anomalies also command serious money. For instance, a 1977 quarter struck on a bronze cent planchet, which results in a smaller, reddish coin with a truncated design, sold for $1,150 in 2008. Even more staggering, a similar 1977 quarter struck on a silver-clad planchet, a close relative of the 40% silver error, realized a phenomenal $12,000 in a 2022 auction. These prices are driven by a confluence of factors: the undeniable historical significance of the transitional error, the extreme rarity, and the insatiable demand from RareCoin specialists who prize these anomalies as the crown jewels of their collections. For collectors aspiring to acquire such a piece, the strategy shifts from searching PocketChange to engaging with the highest levels of the numismatic market. These rarities almost exclusively appear at major auctions hosted by prestigious houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. When they do, they're almost always certified by a top-tier grading service, such as PeaceGS or NGC, which not only authenticates the coin and attributes the error, but also preserves it in a protective holder. The certification label becomes a crucial part of the coin's provenance, explicitly stating its unique nature, such as 1977, D25C struck on 40% silver planchet. A collector pursuing these coins must be prepared to act decisively when such a lot crosses the auction block, as opportunities are measured in decades, not years. In conclusion, the 1977 WashingtonQuarter stands as a powerful symbol of numismatic duality. On one hand, it is a workaday piece of modern currency, a testament to the high-volume, low-precious metal mintage of its era. On the other, through a fascinating interplay of historical transition and minting error, it emerges as one of the most desirable and valuable modern American coins. Its significance is not found in commemorating a person or event, but in accidentally capturing a fleeting moment of metallurgical change. For the collector who values the thrill of the extreme rarity and the story behind the anomaly, the 1977 Deep Transitional Error Quarter offers an unmatched prize. As awareness of these errors grows and the small surviving population becomes further removed from their discovery, their investment potential remains firmly anchored in their status as modern classics, promising continued appreciation and a permanent place in the pantheon of great American era coins. Next coin among the myriad of modern American coins that fill bank bags and roll sets, the 1983 WashingtonQuarter occupies a fascinating and paradoxical position in the numismatic landscape. To the casual observer, it is a common piece of pocket change from the early Reagan era, struck by the hundreds of millions and virtually worthless beyond its face value. Yet, for the serious collector who understands the intricate dynamics of mint state preservation and condition rarity, this Denver minted issue represents one of the most challenging and rewarding pursuits in the entire WashingtonQuarter series. Its significance lies not in what it is, but in what it can become when preserved in a state of near-perfect mint condition, transforming a ubiquitous business strike into a trophy piece that commands respect and considerable financial commitment from those who seek to assemble the finest collections possible. The historical backdrop of the 1983 Quarter places it within a period of significant transition for American coinage. Struck at the Denver Mint, which produced a staggering mintage of over 617 million examples, this coin was part of the ongoing WashingtonQuarter series that had begun in 1932. The early 1980s were a time of economic recovery and technological advancement. Yet the minting process remained a high-volume industrial operation focused on meeting the demands of commerce rather than creating future collectibles. The Denver facility operated at full capacity, churning out quarters that would facilitate vending machines, parking meters, and everyday transactions across the American heartland. Few who handled these coins in 1983 could have imagined that certain examples, preserved in pristine condition, would one day be valued at thousands of dollars and become the targets of determined collector pursuit decades later. The physical attributes of the 1983 Quarter follow the established WashingtonQuarter design parameters that had been in place since 1932, with modifications for the clad composition era beginning in 1965. The obverse features John Flanagan's dignified, left-facing portrait of George Washington, with liberty arching above and the motto "I in God, we trust" positioned to the left of the nation's first president. The reverse showcases the heraldic eagle with wings spread wide, clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by the inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum, with $QuarterDollar at the bottom. The coin measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter and weighs 5.67 grams, composed of outer layers of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it the distinctive reeded edge and silvery appearance familiar to generations of Americans. What transforms the 1983 D quarter from common currency into a numismatic prize of considerable value is the extreme condition rarity at the highest grade levels. According to expert analysis, while the coin is abundant in circulated grades and readily available through MS65, the survival rate of specimens in MS67 condition is remarkably low, with fewer than 24 examples known to exist across the entire collecting community. This scarcity at the top tier stems from the immense original mintage and the fact that virtually all examples were released into circulation or stored in bulk quantities without the careful handling required to preserve pristine surfaces. The difference between an MS66 example, which is challenging to locate, and an MS67 specimen, which represents the condition census for the entire date, is a gulf that collectors cross only through patience, keen eye, and substantial financial resources. The market value of the 1983 D quarter demonstrates a dramatic escalation as quality approaches the pinnacle of preservation. While circulated examples trade for nominal sums, and even MS66 specimens typically realize prices in the range of $85 to $138 based on auction records, the trajectory changes dramatically at the MS67 level. Numismatic price guides reflect this condition sensitivity, with MS67 examples valued at approximately $5,060, representing a nearly tenfold increase over MS66 levels. Auction results corroborate these valuations, with PCGS-certified MS67 specimens commanding prices ranging from $940 to $1,410 in major sales, including a notable realization of $1,410 at a Heritage Long Beach auction in September 2016. This pricing structure reflects the fundamental law of numismatic rarity. When fewer than 24 examples exist to satisfy collector demand across the entire market, competition drives values to heights that would seem incomprehensible for a modern clad coin. For collectors aspiring to acquire a high-grade 1983 D quarter, the approach requires sophistication, patience, and a willingness to engage with the professional grading infrastructure. Unlike error varieties that might be discovered in PocketChange, these condition rarities typically originate from original mint sets, sealed rolls, or bags that have remained undisturbed for decades. The importance of certification by either PCGS or NGC cannot be overstated, as the encapsulation process not only authenticates the coin, but also preserves it in a protective environment that prevents the type of contact marks or surface degradation that would diminish its value. Collectors should monitor major auction houses such as Heritage, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections, where these premium examples appear with some regularity, and should familiarize themselves with the specific eye appeal characteristics that separate a typical MS67 from one that might command the highest prices within that exclusive grade designation. In summation, the 1983 D WashingtonQuarter stands as a testament to the enduring principle that in numismatics, condition is the ultimate arbiter of value. This Denver Mint issue, produced in numbers that exceed 500 million pieces, transcends its humble origins through the extraordinary scarcity of pristine preservation. For the collector who appreciates the challenge of assembling a complete set of Washington quarters in the highest possible grades, the 1983 D represents both an obstacle and an opportunity, a coin that requires dedication to acquire and offers profound satisfaction to those who succeed. As the population of certified MS67 examples remains fixed and collector interest in complete high-grade sets continues unabated, the investment potential for these condition rarities appears secure, ensuring that this modern quarter will maintain its status as a coveted prize for those who understand that true rarity is measured not by original mintage, but by survival in a state that approaches the mint's original intent. Second coin, the vast and often underappreciated realm of modern American coinage, the 1986 WashingtonQuarter emerges as a compelling paradox that captures the imagination of serious numismatists. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a year marked by the Space Shuttle Challenger tragedy and the centennial celebration of the Statue of Liberty, this coin represents far more than its humble clad composition might suggest. While millions of these quarters passed through commerce without a second glance, a tiny fraction survived in such extraordinary condition that they now command attention from collectors who recognize that true rarity is not always measured by mintage figures alone, but by the astonishing scarcity of pristine preservation at the highest grade levels. The historical context of the 1986 Quarter places it within the final decades of the traditional Washington Quarter series before the introduction of the 50-state quarters program would revolutionize American coinage a decade later. The Philadelphia Mint, operating without a MintMark during this era, produced an immense mintage of 551,199,333 examples, each struck from the standard copper-nickel-clad composition that had been standard since 1965. This was an era of high-volume production focused entirely on commercial utility, where quality control prioritized structural integrity over aesthetic perfection. The coins emerged from the presses at a staggering rate, destined for bank bags, vending machines, and the pockets of Americans going about their daily lives, with no consideration given to their potential future as collector treasures. John Flanagan classic design graces both sides of this issue, featuring the dignified left-facing portrait of George Washington on the obverse, with Liberty arching above and the date center below, while the motto "I in God, we trust" appears to the left of Washington's neck. The reverse displays the heraldic eagle with wings fully extended, clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by the inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum, with $quarter completing the composition at the bottom. The coin measures precisely 24.3 millimeters in diameter and weighs 5.67 grams, with a reeded edge that betrays the copper core visible only upon close inspection. In the highest grades, these coins exhibit a satiny luster and sharp strike that transforms the familiar design into something approaching metallic art. The rarity that elevates the 1986 Quarter into four-figure territory is entirely condition-based, representing one of the most dramatic examples of survival scarcity in the entire Washington Quarter series. While the PCGS survival estimates suggest that over 11 million examples exist in MS65 or better condition, the reality at the highest grade levels tells a completely different story. The PCGS population report reveals a precipitous drop at the MS67 level, with only a handful of examples certified at this pinnacle grade. This extreme condition rarity stems from the combination of immense original mintage and the harsh handling these coins received during production, distribution, and storage, making pristine survivors exceptionally difficult to locate and fiercely contested when they appear on the market. The market value of the 1986 Quarter demonstrates a breathtaking trajectory as quality approaches the condition census levels. Circulated examples trade for nominal sums barely above face value, while even gem uncirculated MS65 specimens typically command modest prices around $1.50 to $20, depending on the source and eye appeal. The valuation escalates dramatically at MS66, where CPG values reach $40.50, with CAC-approved examples bringing slightly higher premiums. However, the true leap occurs at the MS67 level, where CPG values stand at $1,620 and CAC-approved specimens command $1,950. Auction results confirm these valuations, with a PCGS MS67 example realizing an impressive $2,880 in a June 2019 Heritage auction, demonstrating the powerful premium that condition rarity commands in the modern numismatic marketplace. Collectors aspiring to acquire a high-grade 1986 Quarter must approach the pursuit with patience, knowledge, and a willingness to engage with the professional grading infrastructure. The coins that achieve MS67 status typically originate from original mint sets or rolls that remained undisturbed for decades, preserving the pristine surfaces and full mint luster that distinguish them from the millions of lesser examples. Certification by either PCGS or NGC is absolutely essential, as the encapsulated holder not only authenticates the grade, but preserves the coin in a protective environment that prevents the contact marks or surface degradation that would diminish its value. Collectors should monitor major auction houses, such as Heritage, where these condition rarities appear periodically, and should develop an eye for the subtle characteristics that separate a typical MS-67 from one that might command the highest prices within that exclusive grade designation. The 1986 WashingtonQuarter stands as a powerful testament to the enduring principle that in numismatics, condition is the ultimate arbiter of value and desirability. This Philadelphia mint issue, produced in numbers exceeding 500 million pieces, transcends its common origins through the extraordinary scarcity of pristine preservation at the highest grade levels. For the collector who appreciates the challenge of assembling a complete set of WashingtonQuarters in the finest possible condition, the 1986 P represents both a formidable obstacle and a profound opportunity, a coin that requires dedication to acquire and offers deep satisfaction to those who succeed. As the population of certified MS-67 examples remains fixed and collector interest in complete high-grade sets continues unabated, the investment potential for these condition rarities appears secure, ensuring that this modern quarter will maintain its status as a coveted prize for those who understand that true numismatic treasure is measured not by original mintage, but by survival in a state that approaches perfection. Next coin, the fascinating hierarchy of modern American coinage. The 1989 WashingtonQuarter occupies a unique and somewhat paradoxical position that continues to captivate serious numismatists. While it emerged from the Denver Mint as a workhorse circulation strike destined for everyday commerce, this issue has gradually revealed itself to be one of the most conditionally challenging coins of the entire clad WashingtonQuarter series. What makes this Denver minted quarter so compelling to collectors is not any single dramatic error or variety, but rather the extraordinary difficulty of finding examples preserved in the highest mint state grades, transforming what should be a common coin into a trophy piece that commands respect and considerable financial commitment from those pursuing registries set perfection. The historical context of the 1989 quarter places it near the end of the traditional WashingtonQuarter series that had begun in 1932, just a decade before the revolutionary 50-state quarters program would forever change American numismatics. The Denver Mint operated at full capacity during this period, producing an astounding mintage of 896,535,597 examples, one of the highest production figures for any WashingtonQuarter up to that time. This was an era when the United States Mint focused exclusively on producing coinage for commerce, with little consideration given to future collectability. The coins emerged from high-speed presses in tremendous volume, destined for bank bags, vending machines, and the pockets of Americans going about their daily lives throughout the Rocky Mountain region and beyond. John Flanagan classic design graces both sides of this issue, featuring the dignified left-facing portrait of George Washington on the obverse, with Liberty arching above and the date center below, while I in God, we trust appears to the left of Washington's neck. The reverse displays the heraldic eagle with wings fully extended, clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by United States of America and E pluribus unum, with QuarterDollar completing the composition at the bottom. The coin measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter and weighs 5.67 grams, composed of outer layers of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it the distinctive reeded edge and silvery appearance familiar to generations of Americans. The rarity that elevates the 1989 quarter into four-figure territory is entirely condition-based and represents one of the most dramatic examples of survival scarcity in the entire WashingtonQuarter series. According to expert analysis by Jamie Hernandez of PCGS, Most circulation strike Washington quarters from the 1980s were struck in very poor quality, making even MS-65 examples difficult to find despite hundreds of millions being produced. The 1989 D is specifically identified as one of the tougher dates, with fewer than a few hundred examples known in MS-66 condition and less than a dozen certified at the MS-67 level, with none existing in any higher grade. This extreme condition rarity stems from a combination of poor striking quality, rough handling during production and distribution, and the sheer volume of coins that saw heavy commercial use. The market value of the 1989 D quarter demonstrates a breathtaking trajectory as quality approaches the condition census levels. While circulated examples trade for nominal sums barely above face value, and even gem uncirculated MS-65 specimens typically command modest prices around $1.50, the valuation escalates dramatically at higher grades. CPG values place MS-66 examples at approximately $43.20, with CAC-approved specimens reaching $52. However, the true leap occurs at the MS-67 level, where CPG values stand at $390 and CAC-approved specimens command $468. Auction results confirm these valuations while revealing some remarkable outliers, including a June 2017 Goldberg auctioneer sale, where an MS-67 example realized an extraordinary $4,406, demonstrating the powerful premium that exceptional eye appeal and condition rarity can command. More typical MS-67 auction results range from $216 to $764, reflecting the variability within this exclusive grade designation. Beyond the condition rarity that defines this issue, collectors should also be aware of a fascinating variety that adds another dimension to the 1989 D quarter's appeal. The 1989 D/D repunched MintMark variety, designated as FS501, represents a subtle but collectible error where the Denver MintMark was punched twice, creating a distinct doubling visible under magnification. While not as valuable as the high-grade condition rarities, this variety offers collectors an accessible entry point into the specialized world of mint error collecting and demonstrates the variety of ways that this Denver issue can capture collector interest. Collectors aspiring to acquire a high-grade 1989 D quarter must approach the pursuit with patience, knowledge, and a willingness to engage with the professional grading infrastructure. The coins that achieve MS-66 or MS-67 status typically originate from original mint sets or rolls that remained undisturbed for decades, preserving the pristine surfaces and full mint luster that distinguish them from the millions of lesser examples. Certification by either PCGS or NGC is absolutely essential, as the encapsulated holder not only authenticates the grade, but preserves the coin in a protective environment that prevents the contact marks or surface degradation that would diminish its value. Collectors should monitor major auction houses, such as Heritage, Great Collections, and Goldberg auctioneers, where these condition rarities appear periodically, and should develop an eye for the subtle characteristics that separate a typical MS-67 from one that might command the highest prices within that exclusive grade designation. The 1989 D Washington quarter stands as a powerful testament to the enduring principle that in numismatics, condition is the ultimate arbiter of value and desirability. This Denver Mint issue, produced in numbers approaching 900 million pieces, transcends its common origins through the extraordinary scarcity of pristine preservation at the highest grade levels. For the collector who appreciates the challenge of assembling a complete set of Washington quarters in the finest possible condition, the 1989 D represents both a formidable obstacle and a profound opportunity. A coin that requires dedication to acquire and offers deep satisfaction to those who succeed. As the population of certified MS-67 examples remains fixed at less than a dozen and collector interest in complete high-grade sets continues unabated, the investment potential for these condition rarities appears secure, ensuring that this modern quarter will maintain its status as a coveted prize for those who understand that true numismatic treasure is measured not by original mintage, but by survival in a state that approaches perfection.